With boards like this, why does X670 even exist? Hey Gear Seekers, I'm Nick. We asked you guys what you wanted to see in a YouTube communities post, I don't know when, like maybe a week ago, and that was in regards to motherboards and whatnot, and you guys wanted to see more B650 and B650E stuff. So today we're taking a look at a B650E board, which is the extreme chipset, or the enormously expensive chipset that is for Ryzen 7000 CPUs on the budget side. Why is that a thing? Anyway, it's very confusing to me, yes. I know you guys are confused too, but today we're checking out the Gigabyte B650E Aorus Master. This thing is an absolute tank of a board. This is kind of what the X670E version should have been, or it could have been. But ladies and gents, these motherboard videos are not reviews. They're just overviews so we can take a look at all of the features of this board. There's a lot. And everything that comes in the box of this board, there's also a lot. So let's take a look at this new board from Gigabyte. Alright ladies and gents, here it is, the Gigabyte B650E Aorus Master, but we need to start by getting that motherboard out of the way so we can take a bit of a look at all of the things that come with this brand new board from Gigabyte. First of all, we've got this sheet of stickers. People love these, people hate these, it doesn't really matter, it's there if you really want it. Next up is this sheet of paper. Now this actually shows us all of Gigabyte's B650 models from the top all the way down to the bottom. We've got this little badge here. Now, everyone knows about this badge. This is for extra performance. You put this thing on your case, you're gonna get more FPS in any game that you play, especially when you're playing at 8K. There's also this antenna for the built-in Wi-Fi and the built-in Bluetooth as well. There's also this little G connector. This is actually kind of helpful because this allows you to plug all of the case wiring into a single block to plug into your motherboard quite easily. There's also this. Now there's actually two of these here. These are RGB cables, different adapters for different types of RGB here. I didn't want to talk too much about this because these are just pretty standard motherboard things. There's also some thermal probes. Now this is interesting. This allows you to put these probes anywhere in your case and get measurements, and you can adjust fan curves accordingly. Not only that, there's also a microphone that can do the same thing, that listens to the ambient noise inside of your case and helps you to adjust those fans accordingly. There's also a single M.2 screw, just in case you want to use it. It uses those new M.2 clips. There's also a single set of SATA or SATA cables for your 2.5-inch SSDs or your spinning rush drives. But let's unsheath the B650E Aorus Master so we can take a bit of a closer look at this absolute chonk of a board. First up, we've got the front panel audio header. There's a 4-pin 12V RGB header, a 3-pin 5V addressable RGB header. There's connectors for TPM and stuff like that, which you don't actually really need to use. There's 3 PWM fan headers, 2 USB 2.0 headers for things like liquid coolers and RGB controllers, 2 more PWM fan connectors. There's a reset switch, and then there's the front panel connector for all your lights and all your switches and everything to let you know your system is up and running. There's a USB 3.2 front panel header, 4 more SATA or SATA ports for your 2.5-inch SSDs or your spinning rush drives. There's the connectors for a Thunderbolt add-in card and the microphone you can use for acoustic monitoring. There's a USB Type-C front panel header. There's a diagnostic postcode LED array, 2 more PWM fan headers, a 24-pin power connector to send juice to your brand new board. There's a postcode LED screen, and lastly, there is an onboard power button as well, especially if you're bench testing and whatnot. There is a 3-pin 5V addressable RGB header, 2 more 4-pin analog RGB headers, as well as 3 PWM fan headers. And if we scoot on to the other side of the board, you'll notice there are 2 8-pin EPS power connectors for CPU power. This board features a single PCIe Gen 5x16 slot. There's also a by 4 slot for PCIe Gen 4 and a by 2 slot for PCIe Gen 4 as well. The B650E Aorus Master features a twin 16+2+2 phase digital VRM setup with 105 amp power stages. And as you can see here, the cooling for this VRM layout is quite over the top. This board uses AMD's brand new AM5 socket or LGA1718 and retains some AM4 cooler compatibility. Let's open up that AM5 socket so you can take a bit of a look at how this socket actually works. The AM5 socket is also known as LGA1718 and has 1718 contact pins in the socket itself. Now, if we flip the board over, you can see that there's not a lot going on here. It does have a full cover backplate, which actually helps with dissipating heat over the backside of the board. There's also that pre-attached backplate for the CPU socket. This is non-removable like AM4. Now, this board supports up to 128 gigs of DDR5 memory at 6666 mega transfers overclocked with XMP or AMD Expo. Now, let's pull the heatsinks off here to take a bit of a look at the ridiculous M.2 layout on this board. Now, this board actually features 4 PCIe Gen 5 M.2 slots. Absolutely crazy when you think that the B boards are usually the business or budget focused solutions, not in this case. It also features the new spring-loaded mechanism, so you don't actually need to use screws on the M.2 slots anymore. You can just drop an M.2 in and it's ready to go. For rear I/O, we've got a Q-Flash button, a clear CMOS button, antenna connectors for the built-in Wi-Fi 6. There's also a whole bunch of USB Type-A ports. There's an HDMI port for the integrated graphics that comes on these CPUs. There's a USB Type-C port, 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, and a really measly audio interface that has optical out as well. It's also got an integrated I/O shield, but more on that audio interface later. Ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed getting a little bit of a first look and overview of this brand new board from Gigabyte, the B650E Aorus Master. Now, in typical Aorus Master fashion, this is just below what the Aorus Extreme version of a board would be, but I don't think there's an Aorus Extreme version of the B650E boards because it just doesn't really make sense for them to do that. But in terms of the feature set of this board, this thing is kind of bonkers for a budget. Let's call it a budget chipset. We know nothing is budget anymore, ladies and gents. Gone are the days of new things being cheap. There's a couple weird things with this board though. So first of all, well, this is not weird. This is actually kind of cool. 4 PCIe Gen 5 M.2 slots. That's pretty wild for a budget board. It's not a budget board. The other thing that I actually thought was weird was, again, we're seeing this top PCIe clip being the one that everyone's been complaining about with the extra long bit on it. Now, the issue that I see with this, it's a weird and kind of odd design choice, is we've got this top M.2 heatsink. It's absolutely massive. Look at the size of the thing. It's like the Titanic, and this probably wouldn't be sunk by an iceberg, but you've got this clip for the top slot here, which is so close that you wouldn't even be able to put your finger in there anyway to open it. And from the reports that I've seen with people talking about this new clip, it's kind of stupid because it pushes the card back out anyway. So it's just a really odd design choice. And the only reason why it pushes the card back out is actually because of the back plates on some graphics cards. So I bet you with Gigabyte GPUs this is fine, but for some other GPUs with some thicker back plates, this is definitely going to be a problem. I haven't tested this yet, but I think this is something we'll actually get around to because, yeah, you guys have been talking about this quite a lot. And the next thing that I find weird is the price. Now, The US price for the B650E Aorus Master is looking at about $349 US, right? Okay, Aussies, get ready for this one, right? The B650E Aorus Master in Australia is 649 Aussie dollars at the time of filming this video. Whoa. That is a lot of money for a chipset that we would typically associate with being cheap. And I get that it's the E variant being the extreme variant, but my lord, that is so very, 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 very expensive. But I gotta say, the features of this board are quite good. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna leave it there because this board is really kind of cool and kind of confusing at the same time. Anyways, guys, if you like the music you heard here, I make all the music. It's available by clicking that join button down below. And if you like me and these type of videos where I talk about all things motherboards, make sure you click that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to see notifications of when we upload next. Anyways, guys, I am your boy Nick with Gear Seekers. You peek, and we definitely had a bit of a seek today at this board because, like I mentioned, weird, expensive, but actually kind of cool at the same time. Thanks for watching.